Fantastic. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Really excited about today's presentation by Jeff Hammer, CEO of Hammer Forte Consulting and also Northwestern Mutual Wealth Management Advisor. Today, we're going to be talking about financial player coach training, how to multiply your impact. Really excited to hear about today's charitable aspects and how everyone can utilize that to make a difference in the world. So I'm going to go ahead and kick it off to you, Jeff, and let you go.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Casey. Appreciate it. Yeah, and for today, what we're going to be talking about is the whole aspect of how you can have that multiplied impact. So, some of you may have heard or seen some of the footage from Michael Jordan, for example, where at the tail end of his career, he was both a player and a coach for one of the NBA teams. Similarly, you had Pete Rose from the baseball field, who had that same kind of dual role. And the idea was that these folks had established some level of expertise, that they had the capacity to serve in both roles. And so that's the same kind of opportunity to say, in the same way they were able to serve multiple capacities and have those multiple hats, there's also a great opportunity for you to use your particular platform. Because it doesn't matter, if you have an international stage or if you are a local hometown hero, that is something you have a sphere of influence. And it's a great opportunity because of, the platform you've been given, how you can best leverage that particular sphere of influence. And so as we look at that, some of the key things that we see there are there may, be that opportunity just for how do you pay it forward. And that's something that's going to be important because as we look at how to pay it forward, a lot of those folks are really looking to say, I want to make a difference. And whether they want to speak out on equity issues or whether there's social justice, whether it's, helping in regard to, domestic abuse, there's a wide range of different things where you can have your impact. It can also be, things such as cancer research. Mark Dunn, a great football player, one of his missions in life was, given his upbringing, he felt that he wanted to make sure that single moms had an opportunity to have a house. And so I believe it's now over 100 houses he's now helped give away to single moms to make sure that they could take care of things. And so again, doesn't matter, what your sphere is, whether it's local or national or international, people are watching you, people are following you. And the great thing there is you do have that opportunity to have a multiplied impact. And what we mean by that is, there are ways, for example, that you could give $1 and, maybe have $1's worth of impact, or if it's a well-run nonprofit, they still have their overhead cost. You might be able to get 80 cents out of every dollar to an end goal. But there are ways that you can have that multiplied impact where instead of getting 80 cents out of every dollar to that purpose that you want to support, there may be ways to get 5 to 20 times the impact off of every dollar. And so we'll talk through that. But in addition, some of the things that we'll also see is 61% of fans, they want to see that you care about something. It is something that they are very mindful of. They want to see people pay it forward. They want to see that you are a real human being. So when they see folks, like Giannis, from the Milwaukee Bucks, they see him strolling through Walmart. That gives them that amazing sense that, he is a real person just like them. Same thing when we see these folks paying it forward. There's a great gentleman, out on the West Coast, played for the Mariners for a bit by the name of Gerald Smiley. He's done some work with a foundation called Chip In that helps athletes and artists and musicians and others to be able to pay it forward as well. And to say, I have that sphere of influence. How can I help propel it forward? So what I would encourage you to do is think about those causes that matter to you. What kinds of people do you want to support? How are you going to make a difference? And as we look at that, part of what this does is this does fit into your overall personal brand. So as name, image, likeness is taking the forefront, you have that capability to continue to build that into your personal brand. And so, there are those kinds of capabilities where you look at, Simone Biles, for example. She's had some interest and support in things such as foster care, given her upbringing. And, so there's some tremendous opportunities where you can have that same kind of imprint. But this is also part of an integrated strategy of how does this dovetail in with what you're doing with your finances, with your brand, with your spend, with your commitments. Do these things fit with you? And part of what we want to do is, as you also look at that, we're looking for those things that also align with your brand as an individual. Again, work done in his particular circumstance, he knew and had lived and had felt the situation of growing up in a situation where his mom had to carry all the weight, and he wanted to make sure that that was something that he was keenly affiliated with. And that's what we're looking for, is don't necessarily throw your weight behind just an organization, but one that really matters to you, because folks can sense that trueness, that authenticity of what it is you're doing. But now, as a result, again, it can start to really streamline and make available some other opportunities as folks see the holistic view of who you are as an individual. And so with that in mind, some of the things that we'll also take a look at here is this idea of the worksheet. And as we look at this, I want to encourage you to think through, how might you give back? And in this particular case, what are the things that you'd want to support? Where would you like to give? How much can you give? And oftentimes we think about it when we think about our philanthropy and how we're giving. There may be that common misperception that we've got to be, Oprah Winfrey, we've got to be, Warren Buffett, giving just these massive amounts of money. And the reality is, sometimes folks may look at it from a faith perspective and say, I want to give my tithe, to the church, that whatever they attend. And in that particular case, that may be an opportunity to give that back. But we also have someone on our team, a young man who's basically 25 years old, and for $9 a month, he's a $100,000 donor to a cause he cares about. Well, that's done through a life insurance policy that he can get for $9 a month because he's young and healthy. You guys have the same opportunity. There's a tremendous capability to leverage that, as well as online giving platforms such as the one I referenced earlier, with the Chip In platform. And there are others out there where you can connect with different organizations and assist them. But also, one of the other things that you may be able to do is there may be those opportunities either on a volunteer basis or on a compensated basis, where as you connect to these different organizations, you may be able to help bring a spotlight in your sphere, in your realm of influence, and to bring attention to the fact that, maybe it's for animal rescue, maybe it's for conservation and environmental purposes, any number of reasons that you wanted to support. You can actually now have that opportunity to monetize that if they have the capability to compensate you for lending your name and your image and your likeness to bring attention to their cause. So really great opportunities to make a difference. Again, we encourage you, find those things that you have a real passion around. Folks want to see that authenticity. They want to see that you're giving back. And again, this is a tremendous opportunity for you to make an influence that nobody else can make. You have your own unique sphere, and we look forward to seeing what you're doing with it. We'd be happy to help chat with you and discuss that further. Again, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to have a conversation and see how we could assist.
Fantastic. Well, great information, Jeff, and excited for the future of NIL and how athletes can help people and charities and everyone in society. Well, we're going to end the broadcast. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us today.
Thanks, Casey.